Hello, and welcome to Sideways. This week, we're talking about visible expressions of emotion, getting teary, having a miz, and the benefit that can be gained from letting yourself have a good hard weep. My shortage of coffee reminds us of a time when Martin used to tease me about my asthma medication. We both celebrate the passing of the Jubilee without having had to attend a street party, and we get smug about the price of beer. Crying.
There you are.
There you are.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, I think I've got my volume turned up a bit loud. I can hear you booming around my room and I don't like it.
I can hear you booming around my ears and I don't like that.
We got that out of the way. How are you apart from that then?
Well, got a sore back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think
Should we explore that one?
Not really, I don't think. I mean, I'm getting old, aren't I? And I probably sleep strangely. And so there's that. And I've also almost run out of coffee, which is probably a bigger trauma for me.
That's a pain in the arse rather than the back though, mate, isn't it?
It is, but it sort of worries me because the thought of not having any coffee makes me a little bit panicky, which makes me wonder if I've got a caffeine addiction.
Well, perhaps that's what it is. That is mirroring how addiction works. Totally, yeah.
Perhaps I'm sort of getting myself into trying to get into the perspective, to understand the perspective of an addict by running out of coffee deliberately. But then, of course, when I was thinking about that, it reminded me that, as you used to tease me, if I ever went out without my Ventolin inhaler, I'd have the same thing, which is, I suppose, a kind of dependency, isn't it?
It is, I feel guilty about that now, the way I used to tease you about that.
Yeah, it was shocking, really, wasn't it? I'd go out down the pub and you'd say, you've got your Ventolin, and I'd check my pockets and think, oh, no, I haven't got it. And then immediately I'd start to get breathless.
Yeah.
And you'd laugh.
I did and played on that, which is, I'm well, it's a bit late to apologise, I suppose, but, sorry, mate.
It's never too late to apologise.
Oh, is it not? Okay.
I don't think so. I've got a feeling you used to ask me if you could have a bang on my Ventolin as well.
I did,
as if it was a embassy number 6.
I'd try anything that changed the way I thought or felt. I thought that would be good.
I should have seen the signs at that early stage, shouldn't I?
We should have known. Yeah, it's on its way.
There we are. Anyway, so that's where I'm at. How about you?
Yeah, I'm in good shape. Yeah, I haven't been involved in any of the Jubilee celebrations.
No, I had a very loud street party along here yesterday.
Yes, was it good? Did you go?
I didn't go to it, did I?
You didn't. Well, you didn't even show your face.
No.
Miserable sod.
I didn't. I walked the dog along the road before it started, and once it had begun, I gave it a very wide berth. Except I was a bit miffed that by the time I went to bed in the evening, there was blaring music keeping me awake, which I wasn't very impressed about. No. I think there were even fireworks as well. Surely you can't let fireworks off in a residential road, can you?
Well, I suspect that people would take them in regardless.
It's a disgrace.
It is. Well,
I'm glad to see the back of the Jubilee.
That's you moan out of the way.
And then, if that wasn't bad enough, I turned on the television last night and caught a bit of the Jubilee concert. I saw Duran Duran. I mean, what's going on there? Is that the best you can do for to celebrate 70 years of Her Majesty on the throne, to get Simon Le Bon in his 60s singing stuff that was of questionable quality in the 1980s?
Yeah, it's not the first sort of band that would spring to mind if I was putting on a celebratory party, that's for sure.
Who is the first band that would spring to mind if you were putting on a celebratory party?
Well, the Damned, obviously.
The Damned? That's hardly celebratory, is it?
Yeah, they're the best. So.
The only thing, the song that always springs to my mind if I think of party, and I'm not saying I like the song, but it was always played at some point at a party, was Hi Ho Silver Lining by Jeff Beck.
I reckon they should have played Oops Upside Your Head and got the Queen rowing on the ground, all the royal family behind her. That would have worked, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that would have been superb. That would definitely have made the whole thing worth watching.
Anyway.
Every time they pan to one of the royals' faces when they were watching the concert, they all of them looked terribly bored.
Well, if you're forced to watch Duran Duran, I'm with them. I understand that.
That must be one of the worst things about being a royal when you're told, well, what have we got on today? Well, you've got to go to the Jubilee party this evening. Who's playing? Duran Duran, Alicia Keys. You'd be, oh, God, just don't fancy that tonight. But there's nothing you can do, is there?
No.
Got to go.
You got to go.
Anyway.
Yeah, you've got to endure it. I was going to talk about the benefits of crying.
Yeah, okay, so crying, the benefits of crying.
Yeah, it was an idea that I only added to my list of ideas this week.
Oh.
But it came up again in a meeting a couple of days ago, so I thought I'd do it straight away while I strike the irons hot. I mean, I did it onto the list of ideas after watching The Staircase on Netflix, the sort of documentary. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a sort of a murder. It's not a mystery. Well, it is a bit of a mystery, I suppose, but it's a documentary. And the main protagonist guy who was accused of murder mentioned that he'd spoken to his therapist about how he'd started to cry more often.
Right.
I don't want to give away any spoilers in case anyone wants to watch it, but I recommend the series. It's very good. So I thought, crying. That's a guy. I remember running away straight to my Sideways notebook and thought, right, I'll write that down in there. Get that sorted out.
There's no need to press it home that you've got a Sideways notebook and I haven't. That's cruel.
Anyway,
making me feel tearful.
I won't mention it anymore. But before we start, just had got some quite good feedback from last week actually, and the muffled trumpet came up quite a lot as people enjoyed that. Someone told me that it's more properly known as the mute trumpet.
Oh,
yeah. Which
wouldn't have been as funny though, would it?
No, it wouldn't have been as funny, which is why I'll use the term muffled. But when I looked it up, they're sort of interchangeable. So some people say the muffled trumpet, some say the mute. But when you look it up, when you Google it, you get all sorts of stuff come up about the trumpet cup or the plunger that goes in the end that gives that wah-wah effect. You can pay a lot of money for a stone-lined plunger.
Can you?
Yes. It came up, and there's loads of for sale on Amazon and eBay and stuff. Not that
have you bought one?
No. No. I was interested in that little link you sent me about, I think it's from The Guardian, where in London.
Yesterday.
Yeah. In fact, I mentioned it on the Zoom meeting with the Aspire one last night, where they're talking about £8 a pint they were charging in some of the London pubs.
Yeah.
Which is just it's incredible, isn't it?
I've since checked it with my son because obviously, as you know, he works in London. He's actually living in London at the moment.
Yeah.
And he said, you can get beer for less than that, but you can't really. It'd be unlikely you'd be able to find a pint for less than £6.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And unless you sort out somewhere that was selling Fosters. And I said to him, well, there wouldn't be any point drinking it anyway, then, would there?
No, quite.
But so when the reason I sent you that article was because I thought, well, in amongst all the other significant upsides of sobriety, surely that's one.
Oh, financially, it's a massive one. I was thinking back, because I think the first pint I ever bought in the Eagle in Maidstone was 32p for a pint of light and bitter. So you could get 3 pints for £1. So for £8, I could have got 24 pints.
Which is about what you were drinking about a decade later.
Well, it was. That's a normal night out for me then.
I can remember, I was saying to Tom, I can remember when beer went to £1 a pint, we were all up in arms. It's like, what? Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
you pay £1 for a pint.
They'll never go higher than that, surely.
If you look at the inflation, though, if it had just risen with inflation, then beer would now be £2.50 a pint. But instead of that, it's £8.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if they're pricing out the market, it just perhaps there's some good can come of it. But
no one's going to stop drinking because of the price, are they?
No, they're not. That's we talked about that before, haven't we? It's subject to the law of inelastic demand, so it doesn't. It's not affected.
Yeah.
By whatever the price. Anyway, we're going off subject here, aren't we?
Well, not really, because if I was paying £8 a pint, I would definitely be in tears.
Definitely be crying.
There's no question about that.
But anyway, I'll get into the subject matter then.
Go on then.
Joey, after your tears about the price of a pint. Mm-hmm. I'm going to start with a quick quote from Washington Irving. Now, he was an early 19th century American author.
Oh, he sounds like one of the Harlem Globetrotters.
Along with Curly and stuff, yeah.
Meadowlark Lemon.
Meadowlark Lemon, yeah. But I think you're diminishing his standing in the literary field.
Sorry.
But what he says, and it's talking about crying, he said there is sacredness in tears. They are not the mark of weakness, but of power. They speak more eloquently than 10,000 tongues. They are the messengers of overwhelming grief, of deep contrition and unspeakable love. Now, in that quote they're not the mark of weakness, which is really I wanted to pick up on, because they're nearly always seen by society generally as being a sign of weakness, aren't they? Yeah.
Well, yes. I think probably perhaps a little less so these days, but yes historically, and certainly in men.
Especially if it's in public or at work, for example. That really is seen as a sign of weakness, isn't it? I mean, you just wouldn't do it, would you? You'd do anything but to show that in public, or certainly at work.
Yeah,
we can end up being judged.
Yeah, I think people try very hard to avoid showing that sort of level of emotion, crying in public or even in front of someone else. I mean, I think of countless people I've worked with who you can see them kind of stop themselves crying even in front of me. And I sort of think, well, if you can't cry in here, where are you going to be allowed to cry?
I mean, I was never allowed to cry as a kid. I remember my dad always made us stop crying. If we'd hurt ourselves, he'd always pick us up and say, right, stop crying. It's almost as if that was the way to heal and to move on.
Yeah, I think that's probably children of our generation probably very familiar with that. But when you think about it, when someone says, oh, stop crying, because people do that with grown-ups as well.
They do, yeah.
It's really about stopping their own discomfort.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
You're not doing anything for the person who's crying. Why are you asking someone to stop crying? What's that about? Why do you want them to stop crying? What's it to you? What's it to you?
Oh, yeah, that's a bit aggressive. But yeah, we all sort of leap in, don't we, and put an arm around the shoulder, almost try and stop them. Yeah. When really just allowing it to go through that emotion is probably the best thing to do. And I want to go on to the benefits of that. But I mean, what do you think about, I've talked about my dad there. I only ever saw my dad cry once. That was when my granddad passed away. And he'd hid himself away. I just managed to find him. We were away on holiday. So we had to come home from holiday. We were camping down in Cornwall. I remember he'd gone off into the corner of a tent somewhere. He didn't think anyone would find him. Was having a bit of a boo, and it was a strange thing to see. But I mean, where do you stand when crying in front of your children? Does that sort of make us feel less parental?
Well, I expect it does. I expect it does make some people feel like that. But I think it's very, very important to cry in front of your children, because what you're demonstrating then is that it's okay for them to show that sort of emotion. Yeah. Particularly for fathers. If you stop yourself from showing, from crying in front of your children, then what are you teaching your children? You're just teaching your children it's not okay to cry, aren't you?
That's what I was taught. It was suppressed, physically suppressed almost. Yeah, almost pushing the tears back.
I never saw my father cry.
No,
never, not once.
No, it was when I did see him cry, it was rather strange.
Yeah,
and because it wasn't, there was no regularity to it. So it would have been less shocking if it had happened all the time. I'm going on from what you're saying there.
Yeah. I mean, my children have seen me grizzling constantly. To the extent they're probably quite tired of it.
They call you cry baby now, don't they? Which is, again, something which is, that sort of term is really unhelpful, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is, yeah.
I mean, I suppose it has always been seen as very unmasculine to cry. And hopefully that is changing. But when you look at the research, perhaps it's driven by the fact that the research shows that women cry more than men. So if you cry, you're being more feminine or more, weaker. I don't know how it's being processed by those people that aren't crying.
But actually what that illustrates is that women are more comfortable with their emotions.
Yeah.
And of course, you only got to look at the male suicide rate to see what happens when you're not.
Yes, you have. Yeah, it's extraordinary, isn't it? I think it's males under 40. I think it's the biggest killer in the UK, which is bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be much better off crying, wouldn't you?
You would, yeah. If that's a release you need to do that, to stop that. Anyway, the benefits. So if you do suppress your emotions, stop yourself crying, there's a load of benefits. 6 points that I've come up at in the research that the reasons
benefits to stop yourself crying, or benefits
of crying.
To stop. Okay,
yeah,
great.
Benefits of crying, having a grizzle.
Good.
The first one, some of them are a little bit similar, but the first one it has a self-soothing effect.
Yeah.
The studies have shown that crying may have a direct self-soothing effect on people because what it does, a little bit of science here,
Right.
it activates. Activates the parasympathetic nervous system, the PNS, which helps people relax. So, have a good cry and get your PNS activated.
Yeah, I think you always pretty much always find that, don't you? If someone's had a real good grizzle, they feel kind of calmer, maybe tired afterwards, but more relaxed. It's very difficult to have a long cry and then still feel sort of super anxious and het up.
But if you see it as part of the stable of self-soothing activities, which you've often talked about self-soothing, haven't you? I think we did an episode on it at one time. Crying, if that's all part of the game as well, and have a good boo. Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, I might have one after this.
Treat yourself.
I'm going to. I was going to go for a walk, but I think I'm just going to stay in and have a cry instead.
Have a cry. I mean, if you do it outside, it comes on to number two, really. It gets support from others, which you sort of touched on. Yeah. As well as helping people self-soothe, crying can help. It can help us get support from others around us.
Well, that's a double-edged sword, isn't it? Because sometimes I think, this is just a personal theory, I've got nothing to back this up, but I think sometimes one of the reasons people are concerned about avoiding crying in front of other people is because they don't want the attention.
Yeah, true. But isn't it sort of a sort of an attachment behaviour?
Yeah, I suppose it's about connection, isn't it? It's about trying to connect. But sometimes we want to express that emotion through crying, but we don't want someone coming up and saying, "Oh, you all right?"
Yeah.
What's happened?
It's the last thing you want sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I suppose it is this attachment thing. We've seen it recently where people can use false tears to try and get sympathy.
Yeah, I mean, who has the right to say whether someone's tears are genuine or not?
No one. But people seem to be very quick to jump on the.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, people will judge you for anything, won't they? They'll say, "Oh, that's not true," or "That's not true." You don't really feel that. You don't. It's like people should mind their own bloody business.
They should. And in fact, one of the subjects on the list is judgment. I think you've texted me that quite some time ago. I thought, that's a good one. I'll put that on there. I've just never got around to doing it. I'm just looking at an angle to bring it in. But
judgment is one of the big things, isn't it? With crying, that's why people don't do it, because they're fearful of judgment. Yeah, and that's the point, isn't it? Because if you are going to probably attract some sort of response in other people, but why is it that people can't just be? Why can't we just leave people alone to experience their emotions the way they do? When you're crying, then people will look at you and they will make an assumption about what it is you're feeling and therefore what it is you need.
Yeah. Now,
if you weren't crying, you'd still feel those things, but people wouldn't have that opportunity to, come towards you and ask you if you're okay. So it's, sometimes that might be helpful and necessary for you, but a lot of the time, I think, we should just let people feel what they're feeling, unless they are obviously in need of assistance.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you've got your leg hanging off and you're crying, there's probably a good opportunity to go and help someone. But otherwise,
I think that's a good point. I like it. But I'm going to move on to the next point about it helping to relieve pain, physically helping to relieve pain, because shedding emotional tears, they release oxytocins and endorphins, and those are the chemicals that make you feel good. Yeah, and we know all about that in addiction. Yeah, about those sort of the feel good chemicals, and we want those. So it promotes a sense of well-being, doesn't it?
Is there a lot of? Would you say? I mean, maybe you don't know. I mean, you'll know from your own experience, but not necessarily for other people. Do you think people who are in the chaos of addiction cry very often? Yeah,
I do. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's you do cry a lot, but then again, when you go into recovery, you probably cry more initially because you have been, to a certain extent, you've been covering up your emotions with your drink and your drugs.
Sorry, go on.
It's sort of self-pitying crying, I found when you're in active addiction.
Okay. So I was going to say, I could kind of understand the crying when you're in recovery. Probably the feeling of the emotions, probably some relief and so on. But I wonder whether there is a kind of consciousness when you're in active addiction of how awful your situation is, to the extent that sometimes it might bring you to tears.
Well, it does eventually, but you cover it up by taking more drugs or drinking more,
right?
Because that feeling is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But yeah, there gets points where it is you're crying at the horrible position you're in, the helplessness and you feel frustration. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but that's when it's firmly taken hold and everything revolves around your addiction. It gets terribly frustrating. But yeah, once you release those, once you get rid of that shield and your emotions pour out, yeah, everyone cries when they're first into recovery. Which, yeah, it's normal. I mean, you can sit in a room of people that are just done detox, and everyone's in tears. Mm-hmm. And that's males and females, and it's a lot of times that's in public, and it's a strange feeling. But I can guarantee the benefits of doing that are immense.
It must be quite moving, though, to see someone in tears in the early stages of their recovery. I mean, to the extent that it might move you to tears.
Yeah, well, I was going to come on to that about other people crying and how that can bring us to go down that route as well. But yeah, it's quite sad. But I think a lot of people have the empathy that people have in their support groups, for example. It's not unexpected. It's not shocking. And it's seen as a good sign. Things are starting to move on, because it is, your emotions are coming back to the fore, which, although they can be painful, shows that you're progressing.
Yeah.
It leads on to the next point, really, about enhancing mood, because after people have had a cry, they always feel like their mood starts to lift almost naturally. Mm-hmm. And again, it's talking about the oxytocins and endorphins and being feel good chemicals. It can enhance the mood. So not only does it help to relieve pain, it can enhance your mood. So it's the sort of you have the crash first, and then you have a mood lift, which is sort of the opposite the way drugs work, really.
I mean, there's a kind of feeling of relief, isn't there, after a cry? Yeah. There's something. Obviously, the situation that you're crying about might not have changed at all, but there's something cathartic about crying. That it does shift you to somewhere else, even if it's kind of temporarily.
Yeah, I mean, I've known people. Well, so I've known one person, this girl I knew once, that she would almost force herself to cry because she loved the feeling of coming out the other side of it.
Right.
That was someone who was in addiction as well. So they had found out that by doing that, it almost gave them a natural high.
So she was addicted to crying.
Addicted to crying. Yeah, she'd probably try and put something on the TV that would make her cry.
Right.
Particularly because she loved the feeling of when the tears dried.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. Yeah. The red eyes.
Yeah, she loved all that. Yeah.
What makes you cry now? What sort of things would make you cry?
I'll come on to that. Well, that's
all right. I don't want to. I know how shitty you get if I mess with your bloody running order.
No. Well, I was going to come on to. You might want to have a think about this about films or TV that have induced you to tears. So I'll come on to that in a second.
Right,
I'll give you guys to have a little think before we get there. There's a couple of extra points just about the benefits of crying. When we cry in response to stress, tears contain a number of stress hormones and other chemicals, so it reduces the level of those chemicals in their bodies. So it can be quite cleansing. To get rid of some of these toxins. So again, it's a good idea to have a cry. And the last point, it says it fights bacteria and improves vision. So it's not
really
rather than a psychological effect. Yeah,
that's good for both of us.
For everyone. What do you mean?
Well, because neither of us can see properly, can we?
No, exactly right. No, we both got wafty eyes. So yeah, a good cry is essential.
That's where I've been going wrong.
It is. Yeah,
I probably wouldn't need to wear glasses if I had a good cry a bit more often.
No, you probably wouldn't. But I mean, well, it's understood in Japanese society. They're such strong believers in the health benefits of crying that some cities have now got crying clubs.
Really?
Yeah, they're called Ryukatsu. Probably haven't pronounced that right, but it literally means tear seeking, where people come together to indulge in a good old-fashioned sob fest. And to help the tears flow, participants they watch tear jerkers on films and TV, and they'll have a good old build up together, and then they go off and move on and go on with their day.
That's interesting.
It is, but the Japanese have always think of these things. They're a little bit ahead of the curve on a lot of these things, aren't they?
Yeah, that is interesting. Although that must be well, it's going to goes back to the point you were just making. Everybody must have there must be different triggers for people when it comes to crying. I mean, a film that would create tears in someone sitting next to me might not, touch me at all.
No, I think sometimes you can almost, certainly when if I can feel tears welling up, sometimes it's to do with the music they're playing in films as well. And it's, and the situation, they can do that perfectly.
Yeah.
And bring that together. And I don't know if you've been thinking about this, but one of the films, I remember crying I think it was the first film I really thought, actually, I'm having a good old boo up here, and that was Schindler's List.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember being really moved by it. Mm-hmm. And it's, I was watching it at home. I wasn't in the cinema, but I imagine if I was in the cinema, I would have cried openly there. I remember the feeling of, wow, this is different. This is taken me to a different level.
It's dark in the cinema, isn't it? You'd have been all right crying.
Yeah, but you'd have heard the sniffles when you were around you.
You would have done. You'd have been crying into your popcorn.
You would have been.
The only film I'm sure there have been many films over the years that would have made me cry. Anything involving animals, I can't watch it really. But if I saw something with an animal dying or suffering, that would definitely make me cry. But the only specific film I can definitely remember that made me cry was Kramer versus Kramer. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. Yeah. So I think it's children and animals. That would be the thing that would get me. But and books, certain books. I can't remember which one. One of Kate Atkinson's books. I can remember reading that and proper sobbing at one part of it. There's a book I've read recently, and I really love that. When I get because I can get really immersed in a book, and if there's something that happens in a book that really touches me, that's a very cathartic cry. That is, because I'm kind of crying about something that is fictional, so there's no real jeopardy, so I get the benefits of the cry without actually there being anything specific that's happened that's wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I mean, it's strange because I think poetry can do that to me as well sometimes. I certainly remember when we went to see John Cooper Clarke that Toria Garbutt was one of the supporting poets, and I bought one. Did you buy a book as well? I bought a book, and there's a poem in there called "Dancing Like Madonna," and it's basically about the death of her younger sister, and who was a heroin addict. And I read that, and I was tearful after that. It reminded me on two things: losing a sibling, and losing someone to addiction. So it was a bit of a double-edged sword on that one, or it was a double whammy, I should say. Yeah, that moved me to tears. But on the TV, I find myself tearful at Long Lost Families. I don't know if you ever. Yeah, I do.
No, that wouldn't do it for me.
It does for me. It's just when people they find they've got a brother or a sister and they suddenly meet up after.
I suppose, maybe it would. Maybe it would.
But it's the tears that they're crying on there which makes me tearful. Which is one of the points I want to go on to really about why we do that. We can feel quite happy. And then other people crying can reduce us to tears as well. We almost
it's bonding, isn't it? Isn't it a bonding thing?
You think so?
I think, probably. Or either that, or it kind of triggers kind of similar. Well, I think what happens for me when I see something like that, I put myself in that sort of position. I think I try and think to myself, what would that feel like to see someone I hadn't seen for all those years?
Yeah.
You can kind of imagine that, can't you? And that's such a imagined powerful feeling that I think that's what brings you to tears. Yeah. I don't know. What's your theory?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of psychologists.
That's not much good, is it?
Well, my theory is why we cry when others cry. I just think that it's it's almost like a group response. It's almost like an animal instinct.
Like a bonding thing.
Like a bonding thing, perhaps. Yeah. Or it's showing you're part of the tribe. You're part of you've got empathy with that person.
Yeah. Go on.
So no, I think most psychologists and therapists would tell you that we're doing ourselves a disservice if we don't cry often. But I think we'll almost point out at this stage that if you are crying a lot and very regularly, then maybe something deeper that you need to get sorted out with your GP, because it is a sign of depression, isn't it? If you're crying for absolutely no reason and very regularly.
Yeah.
So it can be a sign of an underlying mental health issue which needs to be.
It can also be a sign. It's one of the things that I've seen quite a lot recently can be a sign of burnout as well. When people
Yeah,
find
true.
that they're crying every morning, before work or when they get to work, it can be an indication that you're feeling kind of overwhelmed and that everything's kind of too stressful. So, yeah, it's certainly true. If you find yourself bursting into tears for no apparent reason, then definitely you should talk to someone about that.
Yeah, you should. You should do. But the last thing I want to talk about is just with tears of joy, really. I mean, we all use those emojis, don't we? Which are laughing, but got tears coming out of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much you can see. When I was trying to research that as to why we cry tears of joy, there's not much on it, really. But it's just like the research shows that their brains don't always know the difference between positive and negative emotions, and therefore we can shed these tears at sad times and at joyful times as well.
It just feels like extreme emotion, doesn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't seem very sad.
Tears can come out when there's a kind of a trigger of extreme feeling. Yeah. Because again, it's animals again, but if I see a video of a dog being rescued from a terrible situation, that will make me cry, definitely. And that's tears of joy because it's got like a really happy ending. Yeah. And I'll find myself really tearing up because I feel so happy this dog's been saved. So you're right. I mean, the research again shows that crying intensifies life's happiest moments. So it's perhaps, it's a bit like, going back to the addiction analogy, really, when we were, we talk about often in groups, at the end of the night when everyone's getting drunk, you want that feeling to carry on. Everyone's, people that drink normally will trudge off home. And us addicts, I think I want this feeling to continue. I want to intensify it even more. And crying is the same sort of thing. At those life's happiest moments, you want it to carry on almost. And so it helps to intensify it and make it more poignant. And I can think of a time, I remember when my oldest daughter, Emily, rang me to tell me that she was pregnant. And I was instantly in tears at that. It was real joy, absolute joy. Because it's a nice story anyway, but the fact I'm still here to enjoy it made me. I'm feeling a bit tearful about it now. Have a little cry.
It made me so happy. It was one of those real moments that will always stay with me.
Yeah, it's nice. Do you want to have a little cry?
Well, I'm going to just have a little wipe, just a little tear from my eye.
Little wipe,
just to make sure. Just some of those toxins coming out. So that's about all I wanted to say on tears, and certainly tears of joy, because there wasn't a great deal to impart.
Well, I think that's plenty, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, good.
So we can go on to our gratitude list if you like, mate.
Okay, bank holidays.
Okay, right. There's an obvious. I'm sure you've got another angle on it.
Well, it's not particularly different, but we've had a double bank holiday this week because of Her Royal Highness. And the thing I quite like about bank holidays, apart from obviously it's a day off, is when you're self-employed like we are, there's a tendency not to take too much holiday, I find.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Not because, not for any reason other than when there isn't a structured holiday thing. Yeah. I find myself going through just month after month after month thinking, I don't take any time off.
Yeah, exactly.
But when there's a bank holiday, you think, that is a proper, it's a proper moment. It's a pause, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Because no one else is working. People don't expect you to work. And it's really nice to take a little break sometimes. So I'm quite grateful for my bank holidays.
It's a good one. And it is a slightly different angle on it. You're right. As a self-employed person, you can forget. I remember in the early days, I used to think, well, every bank holiday was a day's pay I'm not getting. And so I used to resent them. But now I don't. I think it's probably comes with age and a bit of wisdom. You don't. It's not all about money.
No, I often use mine just to have a little cry.
Have a little cry. Well, it's doing you good.
Yeah,
which is why you've got a balanced life at the moment. But on my gratitude list, and it's something I can see. You're probably I don't know if you'd be grateful for them or not. But hoodies. And so you're wearing a hoodie.
Oh, I'm definitely. Oh, crikey! I'm surprised I haven't had that one. Yeah, go on, hoodies.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's almost like a backlash. I've spoken about it before that when I got divorced, I went into 2 very bad relationships. And I remember one of the girls really didn't like me wearing hoodies. Really didn't like hoodies.
Why?
Yeah, really did. I don't know.
What's wrong with wearing hoodies?
I don't know. I never got to the bottom of it. She really didn't think it was suitable, whatever. So as soon as that relationship finished, bang, I went out and got myself some hoodies because I really like them.
Did she think you were too old for hoodies?
May have been. I don't know what it was. It was more down to her the way she was a very controlling person. So that would have been a way to do it.
Well, I mean, I'm totally on board with hoodies because when I'm wearing a hoodie under my raincoat when I'm taking the dogs out, if it's a little bit chilly, you can just knock your hood up. Perfect. Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah. So I'm grateful for them. So whoever come up with that idea, my hat's off to you.
Your hood's off to them.
I'm going to go on to the Spotify search.
Right, I know what you've chosen.
Oh, go on then.
I've got two guesses, and if I'm not right with either of them, I'm going to be surprised.
Okay.
You've either chosen Crying by Don McLean.
I haven't got that one, no.
Oh. Okay, or Boys Don't Cry by The Cure.
No, I haven't got that one either.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, well, I've tried to pick one track and not really think about it too much because we've tried to cut this bit down, haven't we?
Well, what have you chosen then?
I've got Crying in the Rain.
Ah.
Which is, it was originally by the Everly Brothers, but the version I'm putting on is the Aha version, which I think is actually superior. So bands that we like, but have never purchased any of their material. Have you thought of one of those for this week?
Yeah, I've got one.
Go on then. Is it someone I've heard of?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Well, you might have done. It's Laura Veers. Have you heard of her?
No. I think you just pick these names out of a hat and think,
honestly, I don't. Honestly, I don't. I was looking through some of the listings the other day at Union Chapel in Islington, and I saw that Laura Veers was playing. I thought, yeah, Laura Veers. Laura Veers is someone I ought to like, but I'm not sure I do. And I was listening to a load of her stuff. Well, primarily her most recent album first, which is fantastic. And then I started listening to some of the back catalogue, and I thought, why have I not got any Laura Veers albums? So, Laura Veers. Sorry that you haven't heard of her, but
I haven't. I've heard of her.
It's not my fault.
It's not your fault. I know her brother Percy. That's any good to you, but that's got a poor joke, really, wasn't it?
Terrible.
Well, in fact, this falls into the category that I've only got their greatest hits.
Okay.
And none of their other stuff, which is Stiff Little Fingers.
Stiff Little Fingers.
Yeah.
Okay. Didn't they release an album in a tin box?
That was Public Image Limited. You're thinking of there, aren't you?
Oh yes, I am. Yeah.
No, Stiff Little Fingers. I liked them at the time. They come from Northern Ireland, didn't they? And their song was really about the troubles in Northern Ireland. But I liked it at the time, the fact they had both Catholics and Protestants in the same band. You
almost slipped into a Northern Irish accent there when you were saying Northern Ireland, didn't you?
Northern Ireland. So I did.
I think that's Southern Irish, isn't it? Hey? That's Southern Irish.
I don't know. I don't know, mate.
I think you've got to be very careful there.
We're going to upset people.
You're being racist, aren't you?
Well,
you're going to kick off the Troubles again with your ridiculous impressions.
Yeah. It wouldn't be the fact that the Brexit issues with the border.
No, don't start getting political now.
Yeah, but it's me doing a wrong impression. That would definitely kick the Troubles off, wouldn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, Stiff Little Fingers. Yeah, not familiar with any of their work really.
Yeah, well, I liked at the time the Tin Soldiers and Alternative Ulster, which were again great tracks, but all about the Troubles. And I thought it was just there was a lot of power, a lot of anger, and I liked that.
Mm. Yeah, there wouldn't be enough minor chords in that for me.
For you, no, there wouldn't. No.
Do they do any acoustic numbers?
They didn't really have an acoustic. I can imagine them all sitting down doing a little acoustic number. Yeah.
Is there anything on the piano?
Yeah, doing Suspect Device on the piano doesn't really come across, mate. Anyway, that's me wrapped up.
All right.
Okay, mate.
See you next time.
Take it easy.
Laters.
Bye.
Bye. Sideways was created by Graham Landy and Martin Pankhurst. If you want to read more about our work or sort through the extensive archive of past episodes, just visit grahamlandywellbeing.co.uk/sideways-podcast. You can follow us on Twitter or Facebook or Instagram at Sideways Podcast, and you can email us if you have a question or if there's something you'd like us to cover. But most of all, we want to tell you how grateful we are that you come and listen, and we ask that if you've enjoyed what you've heard, that you spread the word. And we'll see you next week.